Hello again, this is Wojtek and this is race number 2 in week number 3. That means it's race number 7 in the series. We have a reverse grid from the previous race. Top 10 drivers are reversed. I finished second in the previous race, so that means I'm in position number 9. And off we go. As you can see, I didn't screw up the start this time, so I didn't lose any positions and actually quite a significant mistake, but Jamie Rashford there, and I was able to get his position. Also Simon Field stayed behind me. He was pushed out to the outside by Jamie. And I was very lucky, I must say, at these first few corners. So let's see how it's gonna play out. Gary Fickens starting on 10th position as a winner of the previous race. And he won the sprint race by the big margin. He took the pole position. He was leading from start to finish, and he's definitely going to be the one to watch in this race. But now, as you can see, he's well, you cannot see that, but I think he's on the 10th position. So he didn't progress yet, but yeah, there's plenty of time. We have 21 laps in this race. There's one pit stop to be taken, and there's plenty of time to play out in this race. Andy Dalton is making a move on Richard Boyle. We remember him from the first race. He was fighting for second place, and the contact on the last lap took that away from him. So he's definitely one of the fast guys here, but was a bit unlucky in the race number 1, so he's another guy to be watched here, I see. And there is someone spinning. It's Gary Craig. He was pushed out by but Andy Dalton. So Andy is carrying a big damage, and you've seen in the background that Gary, while coming back on the track, he couldn't really stop in time, and he caused some of a wreck there. So very unfortunate for him. That incident allowed me to gain another 2 positions, so I am 4th at the moment. So this race is playing really nice out, really nicely for him. At least so far. You never know how it's gonna end up. So up front is Michael Booth. We remember him from the first week at Brands Hatch. had a pretty nice battle with him in, again, the race number 2 at that week. And again, he's kind of becoming a specialist from the second races, when reverse grid allows him to be on the front. Again, we just lost Jack Cedric. He lost it into this tight right-hander there, and he definitely gonna lose loads of ground. So again, other drivers' mistakes allows me to progress again, and I'm on the 3rd position at the moment. So I'm closely behind Richard. Michael put 2 seconds up ahead. But you could see in the relative box, Gary Fickens in the red car. You could see him in the background probably. He's only 2 seconds behind me on 5th position. So again, as I said at the beginning, he's the guy to watch here, and he's proving that he's got amazing pace, and he's progressing very nicely as well in this race. And now Richard Wild made the mistake, so plenty of drivers just falling out by themselves. Again, that allows me to again progress 1 more position. So I'm into 2nd place, just Michael Wood up front, 2 seconds in front of me. And I'll hope to reduce this gap and see if I will be able to make a move on him before the pit entrance. So again, I want to remind you, we have a mandatory pit stop, and pit stop have to be taken between laps 9 and 11. We have to take at least 2 tires. It's not that you really have to, it's just about to make the race a bit more interesting, add up a bit of a tactics to the whole roundup. Gary Fickens already progressed to the 3rd position. And I'm gaining quite nicely to Michael Booth. It's only 1 second now. And I changed my setup from the first race. I reduced the wing I'm running at the moment. I put the wing at 1. It's probably higher than most of the drivers. But still, I didn't want to make too much difference between 2 races because it's hard to get used to the car. I just didn't want the car to be too different. But it definitely allowed me to pick up some straight line speed. And in the long run, I think that was a pretty good choice in the setup. And I'm already on the Michael Woods tail. So he doesn't have an amazing pace. I'm just gonna have to find a way to overtake him somehow. And I must say, everybody was thinking that this course will be quite easy to find the overtaking spot, but it proves to be quite difficult actually. And what is interesting, the hairpin we are approaching at the moment, this was one of the places to make an overtake, and the outside line is actually better to make a move on someone. which is very interesting and kind of unusual. Again, you can see in the relative bar up there under the virtual mirror up at the top of the screen. By following Michael, I really have to slow down, so I will be trying to overtake him as soon as possible. But obviously it's easier said than done. Give it a try now. Michael left me plenty of room there, so it was a gentleman move, but it wasn't really enough for me to complete of this attempt. Unfortunately, it slowed both of us down. It's already 1 second slower than the fastest lap this race. And that was actually really big dilemma for me, if I should put Michael or maybe let him drive and then take the early pit entrance, because Gary Fickings is only 2 seconds behind us, even less than 2 seconds at the moment. So forcing any battle with Michael slow us down, but at the same time, as now probably I will be able to complete this move, I think. Should be able to go up front and put up the fast pace just to keep a gap from Gary Fickings, who is only 1 second behind us already. And as I said at the beginning, he's the favorite to win this race, and I am just the underdog guy trying to beat him here. Now we are at the lap 9. That means this is the pit stops are open. We can take the pit stop now, and I decided to do it simply because if Gary Fickings won't make the pit stop, Michael Butt obviously will slow him down a little bit, and when I come out of the pit stops, I will have a set of fresh tires. So that means I will be able to put a very good, the good laps, just to make sure I will stay ahead of Gary when getting out of the pits. So let's see how it works. Now it definitely looks better than the Brands Hatch attempt when I overshoot the pit lane and have to serve the penalty. That cost me probably a podium finish in that race, maybe even a win. But it's in the past a pretty good pit stop. 11.8 seconds, and we're back on the track. So what's important now is to put a fast lap to make sure I'll stay ahead of Gary Fickings. Now, as you can see, just under the mirror at the top of the screen, this split bar or delta bar is called. It shows that I really put a good lap. That's gonna be my fastest lap. So I should be able to stay in front of Gary Pickens. But that was just a theory, and as you can see, this red car up front, this is Gary Pickens, and he was 1 second behind me last lap when I was entering the pits. 1 lap later, he made a pit stop, and he made up 3 seconds on me. So I was really surprised about it. I spoke to him after the race. He was also surprised that he was able to make 3 seconds, but yeah, that paid off. I didn't really practice how to make the quick pit stop, and that cost me big time this time. Now 2 seconds. Obviously there's 10 laps to go, so there's a still chance for me to catch up and put it right, but yeah, Gary is a really fast driver, and that might prove to be a very difficult task. Now, so it's a fast forward to the last lap. I must say that was really intense last 10 laps when I was trying to catch up with Gary Pickens, but I wasn't able to do that, still 1 second behind him. So there's not much probably could happen on the last lap, but you never know. And this is actually the moment I lost all hope catching up Gary. It's tricky sometimes with the lapped cars. It's really hard to predict the line it's gonna take, and that cost me 1 second. Gary is safe on the lead, and that's how it's gonna end. So lesson learned, race was pretty much lost in the pit stops. 3 seconds lost there, and I'm gonna try to do a bit of a practice for the next week race, and maybe that will be the time to take a win, because I must say Gary Pickens, he won the first race, and then last week on Road Atlanta he won all of the 3 races, and again week number 3 again he won 2 more races. So for the last 7 races he won 6 of them, so he's the definitely dominant player in this series at the moment. Okay, so I hope to see you guys next week, and keep watching.